We're here to talk about flood maps on Hilton Head Island. This is Cathie Rasch with REMAX Island Realty, and I'm here with Sherry Mundrick.
And the floodplain manager for the town of Hilton Head Island.
So, how is this going to affect construction going forward, or do we not know that yet?
The current building code requires that any new construction or substantial improvement be raised to 1 foot above the base flood elevation. What substantial improvement is that any improvements to a structure that are greater than 50% of the value of the structure also require that entire structure to be elevated. We have a lot of commercial properties on the island that are currently at the base flood elevation of 14 feet. So if somebody wants to purchase and redevelop one of those properties now, there's a lot of expense that has to go in elevating those slabs 1 foot to meet the current building code. When these new elevations change, a lot of those properties are being removed from the special flood hazard area, or the base flood elevation is decreasing so that now something that is at 14 feet can remain at 14 feet without all the extra expense. So we hope to see some of these vacant properties filling up.
Well, in becoming more viable. New construction. Should we talk about new construction?
Previously, the same thing with commercial construction is that new construction does have to be elevated to 1 foot above the base flood elevation. With that typical elevation of 14 feet, new construction today has to be elevated to a minimum of 15 feet in most areas. In the future, the new construction will also have to add that 1 foot of what's called freeboard, and that freeboard could be anywhere from 8, 9, 10, 11 feet. So we will see some decreases in the cost of residential construction because we won't have to build as high. There are some properties that are currently in the Hilton Head Plantation area. They are vacant properties and they are V-zone properties, which means that there is a whole extra set of regulations that they have to build to meet those high velocity zones. A lot of those areas in Hilton Head Plantation that were considered on the bluff are actually being removed to the low risk zone. So those structures, a lot of those vacant properties will be more feasible to be built on rather than having to build these very high rated, wind and water load rated structures, and now they can actually be constructed on. Mm-hmm. And so we have some vacant properties that have sat for a while, and now I hope to see some great homes go there.
So Sherry, tell me, how is this going to affect some of our HOAs?
A lot of those HOAs have the architectural review boards, and the architectural review boards may have to make some concessions for the lower base flood elevation because the town's requirements currently are the building height is measured from the base flood elevation. Now in those areas that don't have the ARB or do not rely on the town for those height restrictions, they may need to look at that in their requirements because they could in effect have a house that's built 5 feet lower than a house that was built previously in 2008, 2009, and now something that is more current is going to be at a lower elevation. So some architectural review boards may need to look at their regulations and see how their regulations relate to building height and how that could be affected by this drop in the base flood elevation and how it ties into the town's height requirements.
That could be very interesting.
Yeah.